Welcome back to our Greek reading class. We are going to take a look at the pericope where Jesus is baptized. We begin with kai egeneto. Kai egeneto is a very common word. It's from ginomai. It has a wide range of meanings. In narrative passages, it often means and it happened or and it came to pass. And it's a figure of speech that derives from something that's common in Hebrew, a little bit awkward in Greek, and some translations will leave it untranslated. So, and it happened, it's an aorist verb. You can see the past time marker of the augment and the middle passive endings. It's a middle form, and it happened. In ekenais, in those, this is dative plural. In always takes a dative, so in those tais hemerais, the days. Putting it together, in those days. Eilthin is the aorist form of erchomai, so he, she, or it came. In this case, he came. Jesus is the subject, so and it happened in those days, kai geneto enekenes tais hemerais. Eilthin Jesus. Jesus came. And now we have a series of prepositional phrases that tell us a little bit about Jesus' coming. Well, actually, only one. The others are separated by a different verb. Jesus came, apo, from Nazareth, Tes Galileas. Tes is the genitive singular form, and Galileas is Galilee. Literally from Nazareth of Galilee, or Nazareth which belongs to Galilee. But in better English, we'd say from Nazareth in Galilee. It's a town in a province. Kai and ebaptiste. You recognize this the ending. It's indicative of the aorist passive and the aorist passive indicative. You can see the augment from baptizo, I baptized. So ebaptiste, he was baptized. Eis, in or into, ton Jordanein, the Jordan, referring to the name of the river. So baptized into the Jordan, hypo, by Ioannou. You can see the genitive, hypo, in this case, with the genitive by John. So kai egeneto, and it happened in ekenais tes hemerais, in those days, elthen Jesus, Jesus came, apo Nazaretes Galileas, from Nazareth in Galilee, kai ebaptiste, and he was baptized, eston Jordanen, into the Jordan, hypo Ioannou, by John. Moving on to verse 10, we have kai euthus. This is very common in Mark's Gospel, and immediately. I think it occurs 46 times, immediately, to keep the sense of action going. There are two spellings, but you'll recognize it as you work through the Gospel. And immediately, anabainon. So from anabaino, I come or go up, I ascend. And this is the present participle form ending in a very characteristic on. So present participle, so coming up, ek to hudatos, ek out of, to, genitive article, hidatos, water. So, and immediately, kai euthus, anabainon, coming up, ek to hudatos, out of the water. Aden is the second aorist form of blepo. And you can't quite see it here, but you can think of that epsilon as a kind of augment. It means he, she, or it saw. So kai euthus anabainon ek to hidatos, and immediately coming up out of the water, or while coming up out of the water, Aden, he saw, schizomenus. Anytime you see this meno, you're looking at a, you remember? Middle passive participle. And this one is accusative plural. You can see from the ending. Schizomenus means being torn. It's passive. So he saw being torn. What's being torn? Tus uranus, the heavens. Tus uranus. And this again is accusative plural. So he saw heaven being ripped open is the picture. Kai, and we're still looking at the object of Aden. So he saw heaven being ripped open, and he saw toponuma, the spirit, hos, as or like, peristeran, a dove. From peristera, so he saw heaven, he saw the spirit, hos peristeran, like a dove, katabainon. Katabainon is also a participle. It's a sister form to this, but this one is neuter. So if it was masculine, you'd have omega here. This one's neuter. Why is it neuter? So glad you asked, because the participle is agreeing with the noun that it's modifying, which here is pneuma, and pneuma is neuter, whereas here anabainon is referring to Jesus from the previous verse. He was coming up out of the water, but here it's the spirit, which is a neuter noun. Katabainon, coming down or descending, eis alton, into him, but here in the sense of upon him. So let's put it all together. Kai huthos, and immediately anabainon, coming up or ascending, ektu hidatos, out of the water. Aden, he saw, still referring to Jesus. He saw, what did he see? Schizomenus tus uranus, the heavens being ripped apart. And Kai, toponuma hos peristeran, the spirit like a dove, katabainon, descending eis auton, upon him. And finally, verse 11, let's work through it. Kai phone. Phone is nominative. It's a feminine form. It means a voice, a sound or a voice. Yeah, a voice. Egeneta, you saw it just a little while ago. It's the second aorist form of ginomai, which has a wide range of usage. It's often, and it came to pass in Mark's Gospel, but here it's in the sense of came, a voice, egeneta, a voice came. Aorist tense, ek ton uranon, ek out of, ton uranon, the heavens. When you refer to heaven in Greek, it's usually in the plural form, even though we might translate and understand it in English as the singular form. So this is typically going to be translated, a voice came from heaven or out of heaven. The Greek plural, uranon, is just the standard way that heaven is referred to in Greek. So a voice came out of heaven, kai phone, egeneto, ekton uranon. Si means you, and a is from Amy, and it means you are. Notice the duplication of you. So you don't need si in order to say you are. He could have just said a hohios, you are the son. But the inclusion of the personal pronoun when it's not needed in order for the sentence to make sense sounds something like, you are my son. Si e hohios mu, my, ho agapetos, the beloved one or the much loved one. Ho agapetos is an adjective, and it's in a second attributive position. If you can remember that from your grammar knowledge, hohios, ho agapetos, literally the son, the one I love, but in English, we tend to put that adjective between the article and the noun. So you are the beloved son, or in this case, my beloved son. En soy, in, soy, you. This is the dative form of su. So in you, eudokesa. You can see the classic aorist ending, eudokesa. So this is an aorist tense form. It's actually an aorist active indicative third person singular. First person singular, first person singular, and it means I am well pleased, or I have been well pleased. I can remember as a young Greek student being troubled by the aorist tense here because I expected to find a present tense from our translations, right? In you I'm well pleased, or with you I'm well pleased. And I always expected it should be a present tense. And I can remember going to a visiting Greek professor once and saying, help me to understand, why is this an aorist? And he didn't really help me for some reason. Now, however, I fully get it. The present tense would imply that the action was incomplete in some sense, whereas the aorist tense implies a kind of action that is complete. It's viewed as a total whole. When the father says to his son, in you I am well pleased, that pleasure is complete and total. It's not evolving, it's not unfolding. The father's delight in his beloved son is complete. The action is a whole. It's not in the process of developing. It's not needing to be earned or merited any further. Isn't that beautiful? So, ensoi eudokesa. Let's read it quickly. Kaifone egeneto ekto nuranon, and a voice came from heaven. Si e ho hios mu ho agapetos, you are my beloved son, and soy eudokesa, in you I am well pleased.